would be one of my friends. He hasn't had the game for too long, but we will see his play. TVZ is a very, very good matchup. I like to see a lot. Hellbats have become a problem in it. But starting with this, we have DarkKnight, the red Terran in the bottom right, with the blue Zerg Strife, sending out that Overlord from the start as per usual. And as normal, I do like to start this a little bit faster unless I see SCVs going across the map or some form of cheese. But as this is just a normal game, we do have an SCV going out to build that supply depot at 10, nothing too out of the ordinary. Only drones being made. He's probably going to go for a 15 hatch or 15 pool, one of the two. Those are the most effective and most popular builds right now. So we see the drone getting quite a bit of information, seeing that no gas is going down. He doesn't have to worry about Reapers for a while. The hatchery does go down, as well as the extractor. He's going to get that spawning pool as well, so that way he can get speed ASAP. You definitely want that very quickly, so that way you can surround any reactored Hellions, or that way you can just have that map vision and put on any pressure. A lot of Terrans will like to go for early expand, so if you can get around and get into their early expand, you can do a lot of damage, and it can sometimes just straight out win you the game. This drone will be picked off by the Marine momentarily. We don't have to see the bloodshed. More drones being made. SCV does scout the hatch. He knows it is 15 hatch by the timing. If he knows the, if he has any idea about the timings, I don't know how much this guy knows. The Overlord probably going to get taken off. You don't want to fly that too far in there too early, because the Marines will end up like this. Usually you want to run the Marines under it, like he's doing now, just so you can get the max amount of damage on it and not let it run away. The expansion does start up for the Terran, and he will be flying that over once it's done, probably after it's made into an orbital as well. He throws down 2 gases. Now that he knows that the Zerg won't scout him with the Overlord, he can throw down the gases and be perfectly safe about it. He doesn't have to worry about any scouting on his tech. So Zerg is just going to be making drones for a while. He needs to get a second queen out of this hatchery. And the speed will be starting soon. We see him having it selected. We want to get that as soon as possible, so that's good. Some Zergs will take their drones off of gas at this point, but it's not always the best idea. If you want to get Bane lanes, you don't want to, but if you are just going for lanes and holding off on lanes, spine crawlers, and hatcheries for a bit, then you won't need to worry about pulling, or you won't have to worry about the gas, so it's always efficient to take them back off. These Marines moving out probably just to secure at this bunker. This bunker is really, really far up. Lanes to come around from the direction of the third and just kind of fly in here. You want to have that further back. You don't have as much vision of this ramp, but you do have a much more secure third or natural. The speed about halfway, or a little bit more than halfway done. 6 lanes coming out, as well as 2 in the main base that weren't rallied, but simple. I make that mistake all the time, actually. Especially with my drones when I'm making like a 4th base. I don't know why, it's just something I've noticed when I play Zerg. He does start the Baneling Nest. 3 more drones, another Overlord, so he's not being supply blocked. He is ahead by 10 supply, or 9 supply rather. A factory coming down. Where's that factory? Right there. Normally, like I said in the last game, you would see a reactor with that, and then these 2 would be switched over, and reactored Hellions would come out. Sometimes even reactored Widow Mines. But I have yet to see that in any of the games that I've casted, only in the WCS mainly. We have more Marines being created. These few lanes securing the tower. You want as much map vision as possible as the Zergs, that way you know when to make units and when to make drones. So for right now, he knows he can make drones. He has a few Zerg lanes to protect him from any immediate threats. The queen being made at the natural and the layer started. He's probably going to go into Mutalist. Very effective still, the lane bling muta. I have seen a lot of transition in Ultralist now these days though, later on, or a switch between Ultralist and Mutalist as the game goes on. I think it's really interesting, but we will see what happens in this match. A Tech Lab probably meaning he's going to get Siege Tanks. Marine Tank is my favorite style, even though it's fallen out of favor. It's just what I've always liked to do and since Wings of Liberty, when I did play Terran. He starts at 3rd base, that's perfectly fine. He doesn't know what the Terran's doing, and the Terran doesn't know what the Zerd's doing, now that we look at it. He knows that the spawning pool was started at the start of the game. He knows that he has an expansion, but these are things that are basically just assumed. And the Zerd knows that he knows that he has a bunker out here, so when you see the bunker out here or further back where it's normally at, you can automatically assume that this space is already here. The siege tank coming out, Baneling speed started, makes those Banelings much easier to hit the Marines, even when they stim, but you do want to do that on creep. Creep spread would be very good, especially to in between the bases, just so the queens to move around, and so everything can move just that much faster. These lanes going out, he might do some form of a Baneling bust, and again, since he can just come around the side here with this bunker being out of position, he could do quite a bit of damage with that. Up 13 supply right now. Starting the Terran is, however, starting the engineering bay, going to get those upgrades. No evolution chambers out for the Zerg to get those upgrades. You usually want to put 2 out and get that 1-1, and for those early game attacks with the lanes against the Marines and such. The Spire is started. We will see those mutalisks out soon. The Terran only has one SCV in this gas. He does want to fix that rather soon. This one has one too many. Upgrade not started, even though he has the engineering bay. He is setting up a turret somewhere. Where's that turret being set up? Oh, right there. So he will be protected against these mutalisks pretty well. It takes a decent amount of mutalisks to efficiently take out those turrets. These lanes still chilling out on the map. The third base is up. He needs to get a queen there. The Terran is still down by about 10 supply. Or he's keeping around that 9 or 10 mark, rather. He has started those Hellions a lot later than what normally would be. You like to get map control with those and clear out creep tumors when they're being sent out, as well as take out drones if you can get into the early third base or the natural. Lane's moving out now with a few Banelings. If he did know about this, well, with the siege tanks now, it would be much harder. But earlier, he could have moved in from the side. Either way, he starts 2 more geysers at his natural. You probably wanted to do that just a little bit sooner, so that way you can afford more mutalisks sooner. But he could take these ones as well at the same time and make up for that. You never want to have 2 base economy while you're making mutas. It's not very efficient. I mean, you can do it, but it's much better to have that third base with the second, or for the third pair of geysers, and it just makes everything a lot more smoother. 4 mutalisks coming out with some more lanes. The armory out for the Terran. He's probably going to do that for Thors at this point. I would say for upgrades, but he's not getting any upgrades. So the Thor is probably going to be seen rather soon, which does still counter mutalisks pretty heavily if they are grouped up. The Hellions having a small skirmish with these lanes, taking out a few Banelings. These Zerg lanes off creep are faster with that speed upgrade. And the mutalisks, of course, can take these out for free if they can catch them. More Zerglings being made, more Hellions, reactor on the starport for those metabats, and the Thor is started as I figured. The attack upgrade from the mutalisk, it's good, but like I said in the last game, the game before that, I forget. But the armor upgrade is just usually more efficient against things such as Marines. Since he is getting the Thor here and playing more of a mech style, I guess it's not too big of a deal. He does need to start this third base here for the Terran, though. He has yet to get that. Zerg has been on third base for quite a while now. These mutalisks over here, probably going to move in rather soon, try to see what they can see. They will have to run away from these missile turrets, however. Zerg is up about 20 supply now, gaining that supply lead. Hellbats have started, as well as that Hellbat upgrade to turn these into those powerful Hellbats that a lot of Zergs are complaining about right now. The range upgrade for those turrets started, so that way they will be that much more effective against the mutalisk. Overlords and not much else for the Zerg being made. He is going to kill this SCV, but he is going to want to get out of there. Probably not too happy to see those missile turrets. I always get annoyed when I try to go Lean Bane Muta and I see those turrets set up beforehand. He does want to be careful with these ones, though. They are flying straight over the army. 2 of them do get to, probably all of them, yeah. Just a bit of a misrally. But we have the Terran still on 2 bases. He has the army, the Thors, he could set up missile turrets. This third base definitely needs to be taken really quickly to stay on par. Even with that misrally, the Zerg is still ahead. And he saw the Thors. What I've noticed against Thors is roaches. as well as a few banelings to kill any SCVs that are out to repair them if there is some form of Thor Rush, which used to be very popular, very hard to stop as Protoss. But I'm very glad that actually fell out of favor. We see a very hard location to break, however. Something that I think is underused is the Overlord drops. But that's not something like any Zerds ever seem to think about or ever attempt to do. So I doubt that those will be a part of this, but more lanes and banes being made, just a standard army. He does want to get this creep spread out further so that way he can move faster and have that vision. Needle sitting over here, about 9 of them out right now. Let's see if he has any more on the field. He has 12 in total, ahead by 20 workers basically. A lot of lanes coming out. That armor upgrade coming from the Spire, very helpful. Even, I mean, that much less damage will be helpful. The missile turrets do have 2 attacks, so it does 2 attacks, so it does lower their damage by 2 instead of 1. We see a fusion core. He doesn't have any reason to build a fusion core, but he might be going for battle cruisers. If that's the case, Zerg can just switch over to corruptors and will be very effective against those battle cruisers with their active ability as well as their base damage. Mutalisk coming into the main base, killing a few workers. They could take out these turrets if they focus them down one at a time and don't be hit by too many of them all at once. He can still fly in here and hit these buildings without these turrets hitting them, but he's just going to run away. That's perfectly fine. The Terran probably was going, yeah, this Thor is here. It would be able to do quite a bit of damage to those Mutalisks. And even though they can heal them up, you don't want to risk them. They are very important. Zerg has quite a large Baneling Zergling army. That creep spread would be helpful. He does want to have a 4th base soon. Burrow starting, very, very good. I really like Burrow for Zergs. And burrowed Baneling mines are something that I would like to see a lot more of. We are seeing somewhat more of them, but still not to a very effective use. Some of these drones need to be transferred over to the unsaturated natural, but that's not a very big problem just yet. What are these? 3 Hellions moving in. They are going to see what's going on for the Zerg. And he doesn't want to show his entire Lane Bane army. He is keeping that away. That's very good. He doesn't want to show his numbers nor his entire composition. It can be pretty much assumed what you're going with the Mutalisk, but you do want to keep as much information from your opponent as you possibly can at all times. The Roach Warren is just finishing up with that burrow. Maybe he was going for burrowed roaches. He could get that tunneling claws. It would be very nice. The missile turrets will come up as a problem for that unless the Terran is moving out and doesn't notice the burrow. I forget if there's an animation for that or not if you when the units are burrowed underneath you. 3 Corruptors started. I believe he saw the fusion core, so he figured BCs. But there are no Tech Lab starports. Terran is still on 2 base. He's dropped down in supply, and he is now just under 30 away from the Terran, or from the Zerg, my apologies. He's starting that missile, or that vehicle weapons level 2, so that will make these Thors that much more effective. The siege tanks will decimate the Lane Baneling. All of these are burrowed. If there was some form of move out by the Terran and he didn't know this, that'd be quite the surprise for him. Zerg not making anything at this point in time. He is almost matched. He has quite the bank. He could really rematch on anything after a while. He does want to move these workers here. Now that's being very inefficient, but he has so many minerals, it's not really going to affect him in the short term rather. There was a scan on the 3rd base. He does now know that that's up, but he's still staying on 2 base. No signs of another command center. Not many SCVs in general. We have 41 still. He had that number earlier against only 64 from the Zerg. It's not a very good amount to have. You want to have 70 to 80 at the end, or at least this late in the game. You want to always be making them so that way you can have the best economy possible and have the best army possible after that. The Terran is maxing out here soon. He's going to have another Thor, just more mech, and it would be very good, but I don't know if he has enough Thors to deal with the amount of Mutalisks that are going to be out, and especially if those Lanes and Banes do get connections on those, because the rest will fall to the Mutalisk. The Zerg has 3 supply, just kind of not being used, but that's not really a big issue. Infestation Pit is started. He could move into the Ultralisk or the Broodlords. Both would be effective against a mech composition. The Ultralisk would tank a lot more damage and are very effective against Hellbats, and would take a lot of attention off the Mutalisk threat. These Vikings aren't going to be doing very much. They can take off a few Mutalisks in a fight, but they are very against those Mutalisks. He is starting a third command center very late. He wanted to take that a lot sooner. Fourth base going down for the Zerg. It is up now. He wants to get a queen there and get more production. This is going to be a very strange engagement. We're going to see what happens here if he does continue to move out. These Lins and Banelings could do quite a bit. You don't want to blow all your Banelings up at once if you do have them burrowed, but they are very pet. Oh God! Just do it. Just do it. Oh, jeez. Oh, everything gets blown up by those Banelings. The Zerglings coming out and taking care of the rest. It wouldn't be that, I mean, it's a massive deal either way, but with a 2-base economy and no more production going on, he just leads the game. There's nothing you can do against that army. That was a very well-set trap, a very risky trap in the end if he did scan that, since that was his entire ground army, but very funny to watch, and I anticipated that. I am glad to see the burrow play used. I wish there was a GG called. That was pretty good. There was harassment. There was not really any aggression from the Terran until the end, and we saw how that ended up. But GG Strife. So, and all of these